On today's video, I'm going to show you how I've made my first clay project. This gorgeous little toadstool, little fairy house, and I've even put a little light inside. So this is how I made it. You won't believe how simple it was. So this is just like a litre bottle of pop. These labels are great because they just peel off super easy, no glue to get off. And then I just cut it with a knife. So I cut it in about half because I want to use the top half what that curves in. That's my main idea here. It cut off actually quite easily, but then I did use some scissors to trim it so it was just perfectly flat. You could cut it on an angle here if you wanted the toadstool to kind of look slightly off to one side. So there, I'll keep that other half for later. So this is just air dried clay that you can get. It seems to be the same make you can get everywhere. I had no idea it was going to be grey. I don't know why I thought it would be white. But yes, I think it's actually said on the packet stone coloured. So it dries really light grey. I'm actually like a bit nervous about using this because I'm just worried it's going to dry up really quickly, and I'm also thinking, have I got enough to make the project? So I put a few contingencies in place, and I also made sure that every time I took some clay out, I wrapped this up really tightly just to stop any air getting in. So obviously I've edited this video, but I didn't really do much more than I'm showing you. I just gave it a good squish. So this bit I'm doing first is to wrap around the bottle to create like the base of the toadstool. So I just give it a few little rolls out. I didn't really think too much about thickness or anything. I was just wanting like a decent piece just to wrap around the bottle there. It's a bit short, so I'm just gonna make it a bit wider this way. I just want to wrap it around the bottle, not all the way to the top, because I'm thinking the toadstool top is going to sit over that. So that is fine. I'm not bothered about this overlapping. I'll just squidge that in, and that little bit that comes lower, I can always just squidge that up. I don't necessarily want it to be perfect. If it's a little bit thicker on one side, the toadstool, I think it just adds to the character, doesn't it? So I just played around with this just by just squishing it onto the bottle, squishing this fold closed, and squeezing and rolling and just making sure it's nice and kind of firm without like any gaps and stuff, well, if possible. So then I just got some foil because I just thought, I've got a feeling I'm not going to have enough clay, and it's going to be very heavy making the toadstool top out of the rest of the clay, and I do not want to run out of clay because I have got no more. So I just got a big chunk of tin foil and I've just rolled it in like this. In fact, this instantly gives you like a really good little toadstool shape. But I was thinking I'm probably going to have to squidge this in so that like this, so it's hard. Otherwise, it might not work out. So then I just wrapped squares of foil around it just to build it out till I could get like this kind of bell shape. And I left that little bit sticking up on the top there for the top of the toadstool, so I could just curl over like a cute little bit on the top. I squidged in around the bottom of the bottle here actually. Just anything I could do really just to add a bit more shape is what I was thinking. Now I was just checking that it was the right size, although I know it's going to be much thicker. I want to add the clay on, but it was roughly right. So I cut another big chunk of the clay. I just used me metal knife there and just kind of played around with this for a little bit, squidged it out. But this is going to be quite a big piece I'm going to make and just roll out because I want to just cover the toadstool lid or top just in one go. So I moved this around a few times so it didn't stick and it didn't crack at this stage. But yeah, I did have a few problems with cracking, but maybe it's just because of how long it took us to do, which I don't think it was that long, to be fair, because the main bottle is covered there now, so I don't do any more with that. And then yeah, rolled this out, chucked it over the top in one go. I didn't cut any bits off or anything. I just wrapped this round and just squidged it in place. Just squidged some out on the top there just to start that little section coming up, and then just wrap this underneath like that. I wanted quite a thick base going round underneath. So then this is a good 5 minutes of squidging here, just to try and get this nice thick edge going round. And then I just started squidging out the top there. So it looks like a bit like a bell shape. Although I do add some more bits on just to make it more rounded. So that is about right, proportionate wise. And then I just squeeze this up here like this. I probably should have done this a little bit sooner because it was starting to dry. At this point, I hadn't used any water. But when I tried to curl the front here, because I wanted to be able to see like the underneath bit of the toadstool, it was cracking. I just obviously, I don't know if I was just not working fast enough or I wasn't adding enough moisture. But I managed to kind of cover it over. So I just got some new fresh clay and just squidged out so it was really thin. And then just played around with just pushing it on like this. I wanted to make this bit a bit more rounded anyway, so I covered over the bumps. I know it's very bumpy looking. Oh, a little bit of tinfoil there. So if you're new to this channel and you've or if you watched me before, welcome back. I'm Minnie Moore, and I generally make a different craft every Sunday. Although I have been doing a bit more paper work, paper like art type of thing, like junk journaling. So there's a few new things I'm trying, but I still like the idea of doing a different craft, trying a different craft every Sunday. I love the excitement of doing something completely new every Sunday. So thank you for watching so far. Hope you're enjoying the video. At this point, I thought if I was to glue that lid of the bottle inside the toadstool top, then you could then screw it on and off if you wanted to. Just an idea. I didn't do that, but so yes, I just had that little thought there when I sat the lid on the top. So next I just rolled out a little section here, and this is going to be decided to start adding bits of water at this stage just to make sure things are going to stick on. So this is just a little roll. I'm going to use this as like a little fairy door. So this is just to imitate like little bricks, I suppose. And then just trimmed off the bottom bit there with me craft tool. So this bunch of little blue craft tools were from the Works, and they were, I think, something like £2. The Works is so good here in the UK. I don't think you have it in the US, do you? I know you have other good places there. Like, is it, Dollar Tree? Oh, I don't want to say. So then I just used the little knife here to go around to like imitate like the little bricks going round, or the little stones. Just went round it there a little bit more. And then I've got this little piece of bark here, and I thought this would be good for like making it look a bit like wood, like adding a little bit texture by just pushing it in, just to make some like little long shaped kind of little marks like that to make it look like wood. But then I kind of needed to just go over with me my little kind of craft tool here just to make it look like it's got like little planks. So the fairy door looks like it's not just one lump of wood, and it's got little planks, like a little made door. So I used a bit of water here to try and just get this looking smoother. And then what I've done is I just used my craft tool to just make some lines like what you see under a toadstool. Just put a little bit of pressure on because I don't want them to disappear. Just quite deep-ish like that, just to give it that effect of the underside of the toadstool. And then I just made like a little line around the top here. I just had a little quick look on images, and it looked like sometimes it would have like a little bit of a gap around the top bit there. So I just used my craft tools to go around that, I think. And then it really started looking like a toadstool once I had the little lines underneath. So next I just decided to put some dots on it. So if I was doing this again, I probably wouldn't roll so many little dots in one go. I've done different sizes, they're not all the same size. It's just the deuced, it will start cracking around the edge of this little dot before long. So the couple that were cracking a little bit, I just re-rolled them, added a bit moisture. But yeah, I would just kind of like maybe just do a couple at a time if you're going to roll out the little balls, and then squidge them and stick them on like that. I think that looks super cute, even just the way it is now. I just used my sharp knife here, just to add a bit more detail to where the little lines are coming up there. And then the lid off the actual bottle that I used here was the perfect size, I thought, to make a little window here on the side. So I just pushed that in and just turned it until it felt like it completely cut right round. And then I just used a tool to just work inwards, just to collect that little bit clay from in there. So at this point I was thinking, yes, this is a window. I'm going to be able to put a light inside underneath, hopefully, if this works out. And then I just used a tool just to tidy it up, and then a cotton bud just to clean the window. And then I just got a couple of little pieces of clay that I'd rolled to create like a little cross on the window frame, for a window frame, I should say. Just made a little dent in there, just hopefully that would help. The next piece just sit in. This was like where it was starting to get quite fiddly. So up to now, the bit that took the longest was just shaping the toadstool top, trying to get it so it looks like a toadstool. So then I've got these little pieces of clay here, like in the shape of a bit of a croissant. It's a little chunk, and I've just rolled it round the lid because I know that's the exact shape I need to put above the window. So this is going to act like a little, I suppose, like a little mushroom coming out the side of the tree trunk, like what you see. And then actually the lid was really handy because I could do the little lines as well, just to make it look like a little mushroom sticking out. And this acts as like a little canopy for over the window. So I just put a little bit moisture on there. Then I remembered, actually, if I get the knife and put some and score it, and then also score the mush where it's going to stick onto as well, it just gives it a much better chance on just knitting together, especially that it's had a few minutes to start drying out. Well, maybe it's longer than a few minutes. And I just pushed that on there. So I don't know how long it took us to make this. Oh, it was definitely a few hours, but I didn't stop because I didn't want the clay to dry out. But this was such a fun little project, this little fairy house. So I've just done the same with the other side. I made this window a little bit lower down, just cut it out, cleaned it, and then I would definitely say this project is pretty easy. I mean, the more detail you put in, obviously, the kind of more trickier you make it for yourself. But this idea of just getting a bottle, cutting it in half, and using tin foil for the top, which I think was definitely a good idea. I wouldn't have had enough clay anyway to build all of that top with clay, and it would have been really heavy. So I think the tin foil is such a good idea to help with that. I just used a stone here and little bits of bark just to make little like dints and stuff in the wood in the main body to give it a bit of texture. So here I just added a few little pieces of clay to make like a little brackets for the door, like a little hinge. Put a couple of little holes in there so it looked like it'd been like nailed on. And then I also added just a little tiny knob on here, just cut it a little bit so that knob would squidge on and stay on. That was the door finished. So next I thought I'm going to make a little base because I want to add a few little details around the base of the toadstool. So then I used the other half of the bottle there because I know that's exactly the size of the bottom of the toadstool. And then just pulled out that and I just wrapped that up so it didn't dry out. So this was going to be the base. I just decided just to cut a few little bits out here, so just so that the door frame would sit in this area. And then I just cut the back there so I'd be able to wrap this around the base. This stuck on fairly well. I did squidge on a few. So at the back where the gap is off me cutting this, I just stuck on, and there's a little bit squidged bit in the back. I just stuck on a lump of clay and then I made it into a little bush later. And that was a really good thing to do to kind of hold the base with the back, with the main body. So yes, so this is a little tiny mushroom that I'm making here. So I thought I'd make the top and then I'll put a little hole in it and pop the base of the mushroom in like this. But it just didn't hold, it just kept falling out. So it's quite easy. It becomes quite apparent like the easiest or the best way to do things when you're doing these little clay projects. So I just stuck the base of the mushroom on there first and then put the little top on. Added a bit of water, cut a few little lines in the back, just sort of help it stick on. Sorry if it's a bit gloomy. Today is really gloomy outside. So next bit, I love this. I use my little tweezers here, my little pointy tweezers, to make grass out of this clay. Look how good that looks. This little lump of little kind of bush just to go here. But then I realised if I'm going to put any pressure on this to squidge it into place to help hold that base on, then I probably should have done that afterwards because I couldn't get enough pressure on it to like push it on without ruining the grass. So I just made some lines here, put that lump on, squidged it on, not only to hold it in place but also to attach the base on as well, and then just done the details with the tweezers later. Now, can anyone remember, is it the bunnykins? When I was a kid, my mum used to have a toadstool or a mushroom house like this, and there was like little rabbit characters. I think there was 2 little rabbits in a bed or something. Is it bunnykins? And when I was doing this bit with putting the little pebbles on the ground there, it was just reminding me of those little ornaments. Oh, yes. Anyway, I have to ask my mum if she's still got one of them ornaments actually. So next I just added a few little details here and just put this like little kind of vine on here just to give it a little bit something on the front. I got a little circle here and just kind of played around with my tweezers and then just popped that on there. These tweezers were in a pack of 3, there's 3 different shapes, and they were only literally about £2 in the works as well. Such good value, that shop. So I added a little flower on there, and then I made a tiny little butterfly. This actually, believe it or not, wasn't the most fiddly bit of this project. I made a little body here there and just turned over the top so it had a little head. And then just put a bit of water on. Use my tweezers to carefully just stick on the wings and the body. Sorry, my big fat fingers are right in the way here. I found it really difficult to angle the camera because the daylight was rubbish when I was making this, and also the top of the mushroom was like making it a bit dark underneath. So I added a few more little bushes and played around with my tweezers, made it look like it was grass. Stuck a few little more pebbles or stones around the bottom there, and bits of grass in the gaps there. Just added a bit of detail to the leaves. Oh, I'm actually really quite proud of myself. This has turned out pretty decent for my first attempt. Yeah, I love the way it's turned out. It actually, yeah, it started drying. You can see the door frame there starting to dry already. It's gone that light grey. So I've got a little chunk of clay left. So the amount I've got left, oh, it's hard to say, but it's about the size of this stone. So I'd rather have some left over than be short of some. So you can just see the bottom there. So this is the next day. I actually quite like the grey. Well, I feel like it needed painting. So I just went ahead and got my paints out. Definitely not using those acrylic paints. But I'm going to use, sorry, not the oil paints. I'm going to use the acrylic and watercolour paints because I know they will mix together. I didn't want to ruin it. I thought the grey looked quite nice, to be fair. So what I thought I'd do was just go over with some brown acrylic paint just to give it like a, like kind of bit of a primer, just to seal it. This is actually just a dark green here I put on the top. I was also thinking that these dark bits might show through the cracks and gaps and stuff. That might work out as like an effect. But I don't really know if this was even necessary to give it this coat before I started painting it other colours. It looks really gloomy, doesn't it, like this? So I just left that to dry. Dried really quickly, to be honest, the paint. Yep, left that to dry. Oh, by the way, thank you for everyone who watched my junk journal making and my decorating my first page that I done, was it last week? Yes, last Sunday. Thank you for everyone and all your lovely comments, and I'm so glad you enjoyed me doing this kind of craft, junk journaling. It's been so long that, well, for so long I've wanted to do something like that, so I'm definitely going to do more of that. Okay, so I left it maybe, I don't know, a few hours. I didn't really need that. But look how bright this green is. I think the paint's dry a little bit lighter, but I wanted it quite vibrant actually. So I played around with a couple of different shades of things. I wanted this underside definitely to look a bit shaded going round. So I played around with mustards and creams and just use like a certain brushes just to drag the paint down like that, and try to put a little bit white on, although I ran out of white paint. Just to give it a little bit of a like a more aged effect. And then just started going over these bits with a little bit. I've chose green. I was going to go for red, but I thought I'd go for green because I love green and it fits in with me living room and what have you. And yes, I love green and those kinds of colours, and white and black and white and yeah. So as cute as red would have looked, I just thought I'd go with green. And I also done the little toadstools here on the side with the little dots on. Look at me desk. Oh yeah, so I did manage to get some more white paint off my son. He had some, so I managed to get them little dots whiter on the top there. I'm actually quite proud of how cute that looks. I started off putting it in my bathroom because it really stands out here on the like against the tiles. This is at the bottom of my bath, so when I'm lying in the bath, I'll be facing this. I just put a couple of little pieces of slate there to make it look like a couple of little steps. But when I remembered, actually I could put some lights in the bottom of this. I popped it in my sitting room. Yeah, as you can see, I love me green. So I popped it in my living room here, just on my coffee table. And I have just found a little bundle of lights and I plugged them in, and I've just got a really thin wire just coming out the back there. And there's a couple of settings where the lights come on and off. I just moved it here at the other side of my coffee table so the daylight would shine a bit on there, so you could see the front a bit clearer. I absolutely love it. So cozy, and yes, it's just sitting there, blends in lovely, fits in with my deck all lovely. Although I did love it in the bathroom. I love the lights in it here. I mean, I could get a little battery operated light thing if I wanted to put it in the bathroom, couldn't I? Thank you for watching the video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please subscribe if you haven't already and hit the notification so you don't miss my next video. Have a brilliant week ahead. Thank you.